Hello, you guys. I am so excited because I have my event coordinator here, Sarah Cannon.
Hi, everybody.
And the two of us are going to have a Dishing the Tea. I'm like,
and
we look like
we planned this because we're both in like blue and white.
We're kind of doing 4th of July in June.
Well,
no, in May.
It is Memorial
Day weekend. So, I'm like
on Monday.
I just spent the whole day. I've been working on Instagram, so I'm in June. My head is fully in June.
Well, we're almost there. We're close. We're close to June.
Really, really there. Okay, so we're super excited for this Dishing the Tea. I think you guys will think this is super fun. I think you're going to get to know Sarah really well, and then Sarah's going to ask me some questions that, like, generally we haven't talked about, discussed. So if you feel like you know everything about me, maybe you don't.
We're going to dig deep today, you guys.
It'll be super fun. If you guys can tell us hello in the chat, and then if you can, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That really helps us. We're trying to do these every single week with you guys, couple of weeks. So keep an eye out. We have really some fun things coming up for you. Yeah. Next week, you guys are not going to want to miss. It's graduation stuff. So it's pretty fun. I'm fully into graduation. You don't have a graduating suit. You're done with that.
Yes. Yeah, that's done. So when the kids are all, it's the last week of school. I'm like, I didn't know because I don't have kids and my grandkids are too young to be in school. So it's.
Okay. I think everybody needs an update because a month and a half ago, 6 weeks ago, or 5 weeks ago, it's been a little while.
Yeah.
We were doing the summit live and Sarah was sleeping at my house in the barn. And you were getting a grandbaby.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Give everyone an update on that.
Okay. So she's here. She's absolutely adorable. She was 6 pounds, 14 ounces. They named her Zara Bell. And she is perfect. She is the best baby. Thank heavens. Cause she's number 3. So my daughter has a 3.5-year-old, a 20-month-old, and a newborn. So thank heavens she's a really, really good baby. She needed to be a good baby.
So did she just want to have all her kids close together in age?
Well, none of these were planned. She's had 3, and she's a nurse. I'm like, you know how babies come. You think she would know better, but so we like to tease her about that.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Is she your oldest?
She's my oldest.
Okay,
yes,
your oldest daughter.
Yep.
And she's just following in your ways.
I know, because I had 3 daughters, and now she has 3 daughters. So it's really fun, and I'm in love with them.
They're so fun.
Yeah. It's awesome.
What I love about you, Sarah, is it's very clear your kids are everything and your grandkids are everything. I was just at Disneyland this weekend, but when I think about it, I think about Sarah going to Disneyland because I will see her Instagram feed. And you took your grandbabies and you were like, this is perfect. You were almost glowing, talking about how magical it was.
Yeah. I took my girls a lot growing up. We would get annual passes. Even though we lived in Utah, we loved Disneyland and we used to go a lot. So it's really fun to have now my granddaughters who are loving it because my 3 girls still love it. We all love it because we had such magical experiences there growing up. And it's almost even more fun to do it with grandkids because I'm there and I'm helping, but I'm not the mom anymore. I can just do the fun stuff and I do help, but it's funner to be the Mimi than it is the mom.
Yeah. Are you Mimi at your house?
I'm Mimi. Yes. Yeah.
And what's your husband?
And he's Pops.
He's Pops.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That is so
It's the
cute.
one time my sister is a grandma and she said, it's the one time in your life you get to choose your name. And I was like, it's true.
That is so true. It's so funny. I was talking to a bunch of my girlfriends about Disneyland because I went with my husband without our kids. It was a total, what are you doing? I was just like, I just want to have a magical experience by myself with my husband. And we
so fun.
We had the best time.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have been a little bit, I don't know if any of you guys get this way. We're in our mid-40s and I've been questioning how is retirement going to look? How is empty nesting is going to look? And after that date, Disney, I was like, we're going to be just fine. Mm-hmm. We're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. I was afraid we would get sick of each other or maybe travel wouldn't be fun anymore. And I was just like, no, we're going to have the best time ever. It's going to be totally good. And so we had a really good time, but also it was interesting because I was talking with some girlfriends about Disney and I was like, would you ever go by yourself to Disneyland? Because Disneyland isn't, I would think, not very fun not being with other people. That's part of the fun of it is you're kind of going and experiencing this thing together. And one of the women said, oh, my husband has never even seen a Disney show, plus never been to Disneyland. She was like, maybe I should take him. And one of the other friends was like, you should, because there's nothing better than seeing someone who has never been before, because it doesn't even matter what the reaction is. The reaction is always like, what is happening here? You know what I mean? Because it's so like, when you think about it, it is a very bizarre thing, this whole idea of Disneyland.
It really is. But why is it so magical? Why, when you walk through the doors, I don't know. My heart beats fast, and I don't care how many times I've been, it feels magical.
They've done such a good job. It's like the smells. Every bathroom you go in smells a certain way. Like it's like whatever perfume or whatever they've got in there. It's the sights, like all the colors they've used, and just how beautiful everything is. They have done, I mean, the Imagineers have done an amazing job.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyways,
super fun.
All right. So we have some questions for each other. I think Sarah has a lot more for me than I have for her.
Start.
Yeah.
I'm going to start.
And we're going to get into something serious. Just because we were talking about Disney doesn't mean we can't talk about serious stuff too.
That's right. Okay, here we go. My first question for you is, what frustrated you most about the traditional design education, and how does your approach solve it?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is the whole reason we started a university, right?
Yes.
You don't start a university because you just are like, yay, university. Sarah knows, because she sits in on some of our meetings. You don't come to the university meetings though, because Sarah's on the design suite side. She's on the design suite company side. And I will say, I mean, the more I've gotten into this, the more I realize why people don't start universities. It is a lot of work, but I have this philosophy about life, and that is, if I stand on the outside and I'm critiquing everybody on the inside, then I can't make any kind of change. And that feels like, also, you see a lot of people do that. They're critiquers from the outside, but then they don't do anything. And I was just like, I think the people in life who really make real change actually do the thing they say they're going to do. So I was like, if I'm going to put my money where my mouth where my money is, my money where my mouth is. I don't really know what the saying is. But basically, I was like, if I really want to make any kind of change in the university system, I keep hearing all these entrepreneurs talking about how college doesn't matter anymore. And I was like, what if college did matter? Like, what would happen if we as a society said, okay, education isn't built the way it was meant to be in this digital age. It worked really, really, really well for many, many years. But what if we could make some tweaks and some changes to that system? And it doesn't even have to be a lot. That's the crazy thing. I think we just need to make some subtle changes, maybe not some subtle change. We need to make some changes that make sense, that are more results driven for our students, so that they come out either knowing how to run businesses, knowing how to do certain skills, like they're prepared for the world in a way we're currently not preparing them. And I know we're very tiny slice of things, being in the design and the art world. But in some ways, we're the hardest world in order to make money in. And I was like, if we can fix this piece of it, oh my gosh, like I think we could fix lots of pieces of the university system. And granted, that's the optimist in me. I don't really know if we can fix every piece of it, but I'm going to do my part to fix this one piece of it.
Well, if anything, it makes the PhD that you have worth it, because the only reason you can do this is because you have to have a PhD, right, to start a university. Or
I don't know that you have to have a PhD, but it sure makes it easier.
Yes.
Because the problem is, if you have, the CEO necessarily doesn't have a PhD, but because you're dealing with a lot of different things, licensing, red tape when it comes to anything to do with the state level and at the federal level, you have to understand the university system, and how it works, and every level along the way. So you have to understand that, and just literally going through a master's degree program and literally going through a PhD program, I don't know how you would then teach those things, to make sure that we're good.
Yes.
Our university does a master's of arts and a master's of fine arts. And then we do an undergraduate design certificate. And if I didn't have those degrees, I don't know. I mean, I don't have an MFA, I have a doctorate, but I don't know if I would know exactly what needs to be taught and how it needs to be done. I think it would feel like a mystery.
Yeah, for sure.
So the other thing is like, I mean, I couldn't teach at my own university.
Exactly. I mean, that's
like the number one thing.
Yeah.
So you have to have professionals of a certain level teaching at every single level.
Mm-hmm.
And since there's only a handful of us who have doctorates in design, most design degrees end at the MFA, I'm able to teach at a lot of different levels. And so I feel really grateful for that. It allows me to teach at a professional level. Which is why I always said we own another program, Design Suite. Mm-hmm. It's our most popular program and a totally different company. And I always said, like, we are giving you university level content because I knew we were giving university level content, but we didn't have the degrees to back it up. And now we do. Like, no, literally, when you get a degree with us, like, it is university level content. And guess what? 50% of that IP, that intellectual property, is sitting in Design Suite, and we're teaching that to those students as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just so cool.
Amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
All right. Here's a question for Sarah. So Sarah is the event coordinator. She does a lot of things, but she is what we call in our group, I call anyway. She doesn't probably know. I call her. She's like our synergist. Like, she's so good at people, like people managing, people like coordinating. She's the one who works with all our sponsors. She's the one working with podcasts and affiliate links and speakers. And she's good at people managing, which is a skill, you guys. It is a skill on its own. Okay. So I am wondering what you love most about curating experiences for people. Because you're great at it.
Well, I've loved it, and I've loved it since I was a little kid. I mean, this is what I did as a kid. I put together parties, and I would get the neighborhood kids together, and so I've always loved people, and I've always loved events. And part of it is when you bring people together, the synergy between those people, the way that they talk to each other, and there's hugging, and there's just like a really awesome feeling. And even the same thing with a virtual event. It's a little bit different. Like an in-person event, you can hug and, you're together and you can feel the energy, but it's sort of the same thing even with a virtual event, that you're bringing people together. They're learning, they're having aha moments. You see it in their face and their eyes when someone teaches something, and you're teaching them something new. You're helping them, you're giving them hope maybe. And I love that. I love seeing like the hope and the love and the synergy and all the things that events bring into people's lives. It's really awesome.
I have a follow-up for you, because you do like in-person stuff. I mean, like, guys, I think she would do this for free. I mean, she does do it for free at her house. I don't know if you guys can also see Thunder. Thunder loves being in video. Like, no matter what, he's like, I'm here for it. I'm here for the video. He's just like, I'm Sarah's best friend. So, like, good thing you're wearing white pants so you can see him. Yeah. Anyway, you do it for free for your family. Like, I will see you on Instagram, like, you will be throwing a Sunday dinner, and it's like all the balloons are out, and you've like made tablescapes, and you've done all this stuff. But out of curiosity, because this spring we did an in-person event, the Design Business Conference, and then we did a really big virtual event, and you help with a lot of the virtual, because we have more virtual events than we have live events. What feels different to you? I mean, like, you kind of said some of it, but like, what feels different, and then what's your favorite?
I mean, I really enjoy them both. Before COVID, my answer would have been different, because all I had ever done was in-person events. And I love, there's something about hugging someone and being in close contact like we are right now. I mean, I could have sat at home and we could have done this. We could have, but it's different when we're in person. Just the energy is different. And so I love in-person events, but it surprised me how much I enjoyed the virtual events. There's a lot more people that can come, and they're free. So it brings in lots of different people from different backgrounds. People are coming for a free ticket, and they might, purchase an all access pass, but it's free. So you get a lot more people coming in and just seeing their comments and what they've learned and their favorite classes, and, watching them build their own skills, I think is awesome in itself. You can kind of feel it, even though you're at a desk with your laptop, watching this all happen. You can still feel like their excitement and their aha moments, and some are connecting with each other, and they're loving a certain class or speaker. It's really cool to see people learning something.
Yeah, I do love that virtual has an all-inclusive feeling that sometimes in person just doesn't have.
Yeah.
Which is is too bad because I love in-person events. We were really lucky to be able to throw one this year. We did it in March, and we did it actually near your home, like in Ashton Gardens, which was really fun, and giving everyone hugs and being able to be with them. So that was magical and amazing. But I love the number of people I get to meet.
Yes, that's the difference. Is so many more people can come in, and we can have so many more speakers. You know, because the in-person event, we had our team, which was fantastic. But when you do a virtual event, you can have people mostly pre-record their presentations. So you can have 30, 40, 50 people, you know, give presentations because they don't have to be there in person to do that.
And so the time constraints. Which we felt at this last Design Business Conference, we couldn't even finish our Saturday morning things. We ended up recording them virtually just so we could spend more time doing stuff together. Which was pretty darn cool.
Yeah, it was. But they're both fun. I love them both. I really love them both equally. They both have the good and bad for both of them.
That's true. So good.
Okay, my turn.
I'm gonna give one to you.
Yes.
Okay. No. You go.
Okay. If you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about how designers are trained today, what would that be?
Oh man. Okay, so let's talk about traditional. All right. So traditionally, when we teach design, we teach color theory, we teach typography, we teach graphic programs, right? Adobe programs, Procreate. And so it's all skill-based. We're teaching vocabulary. We want to be able to speak like a designer. I want to be able to say, like, I see that your shirt has a focal point, right? And use that vocabulary. And it draws my eye in because it's large, because there's a large scale, because there's color, because my eye is drawn to that. There's detail, like the stars, right? So there are things that we want to be able to discuss as a designer. I think the thing that has been the most difficult and what I see at a lot of universities is depending on the professors that are there, that is the experience you're going to have with what kind of jobs there are. So for example, we have a mutual friend who actually was our social media manager here at Carina Gardner Inc. for a while, who said that at her university, since the universities had the professors there had the most experience with ad agencies, design agencies, then they taught go and work at a design agency, right? And so I think a lot of times we aren't paying attention about like the diversification of the types of professors that are at a university. So like if you have a professor who's done a lot of freelance work, they're going to speak from that expertise. You have designers who are, or professors who have owned businesses before, they're going to speak to that. If they've worked in corporate before, they're going to speak to that. And I think there is something to be said, and we're definitely working at this at our university, but I think we're lacking that experience part where we're bringing in, because we're so focused on degrees. And I love degrees. I think degrees are awesome because they tell us something about what you've done. But this is why the university system needs a little help, is like, if we brought in people who were spending a lot of time with our students, who had all these different backgrounds and could give a broader range of what you could do with your degree, I think that would be gold. I think that would be important. And I think we're continually doing that as we build out our university. But I want to do it even more. I want you to feel like if you came to our university, you're like, the world is my oyster. I could literally be anything. I could be a creative director. I could be a freelancer. I could run my own licensing business. I could start a design agency. I could work in corporate. Just this feeling of like, I can see all these different avenues and the world is my oyster. But not only is the world my oyster, but I actually know how to do some of these things. And because I've done some of them while I was at my university, I know which path I'm going to go. So suddenly, we've been seeing the rising costs of universities. I mean, just expensive universities. What if that rising cost, or whatever that cost was, you knew that you could pay off in a shorter amount of time because you knew you were immediately going to get a job, or you were already working while you were in your degree program, if it made sense to the actual degree itself. And I think that's kind of what we're missing right now. I'd like to see more of this in every field. I think there are some fields that already do this, like therapy. Therapy does this, like you can go do a practice or you can do a practicum, right? We should be doing it for every field.
Yeah, so I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Okay. I'm like, what's my second one? Questions to Sarah. How do you want people to feel when they attend a design suite or a university event?
We try to have an array of different classes so that we have attendees that are all different levels. We want people that are beginners, maybe at the very, very, very beginning stage of their creative journey to come, as well as those that have been crafters and makers for 20, 30 years, because we have a huge array of both. We have a lot and everything in between.
Do you know how hard that is, you guys?
It is hard. It is hard. And some that do fabric, and some that are designers, and some that like, cutting machines, and some that do sublimation. And there's the creative world it's vast. There's a lot of different things that we can do. So we try to include something kind of for everybody.
Yeah.
And so we hope people come and feel like, there's 35 classes, maybe half of them are for me.
Mm-hmm. And you're speaking mostly about summits at the moment.
Yes.
But that is the nice thing, once again, about virtual, because we can kind of vary the topics.
Mm-hmm.
We also this last time had a bunch of like life skill type things,
which was awesome. We had people that were they were all creatives, but they were doing therapy, or they were taking their creativity in different places, which I really enjoyed. I really loved some of their presentations.
Yeah, really cool. And I actually love it because a lot of times when we're crafting, we feel like we're just crafting, but like part of the reason we can craft is because there's all this mindset stuff and we've made the time for it. And there's some nice things involved. And if you're designing for business, you definitely need like the mindset stuff.
Absolutely. Yes.
I like that we are able to bring in so many different speakers like that. It does make it a nice thing.
It does.
This last summit was really nice too, because I found myself, you guys can watch it here on YouTube. But I found myself talking to, Stephanie and Terry and Erin. I had not met Erin before. Michelle was in that group. And I was just like, I don't think I've ever met any of you in real life. And we're just having this fun conversation. Yeah. And like some of them were like Stephanie and Terry, like the OGs, like they've been around forever. Yes. And, it was fun. Yeah. It's just like the kind of this fun feeling of like, look at all this fun stuff that we're getting to do here.
And all these creative people, all these creative minds that have come together and that are teaching or doing different things, but are in some ways very single-minded, creative-minded, I should say.
Yeah, it's so true. So good. Oh, wait, is it mine or yours?
Okay, it's me.
We're not great at this interviewing thing, you guys. Like, clearly I'm like, do I need to send it? Also, actually, you guys can't see it, but I'm just like, I'm still like, this is my dining room area. We're supposed to be in the barn. I should tell you guys about this. So I don't know if you guys know this, but my contractor ghosted me. So we haven't seen him for a while. I think he's working on other projects. There's not that much left on the barn, but while he has been missing, I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and have the concrete put in front of the barn, because we didn't do that with this contractor. We did it. We were going to do it separately. So I wasn't thinking about it, but last week I scheduled it for this Monday, and all of my equipment is sitting in the barn, like all of like my tools, everything to hold us that, like, except for the mic, which I happen to have in the house. I had brought it in just to plug it in for something. And because I had planned on doing this with Sarah in the barn. Yeah. And
this is great too.
We can't walk on the concrete. No, that's the bottom line. I can't open any of the doors. I was supposed to have an inspection tomorrow, and I just canceled that because I was like, we still can't walk on that. They say 24 hours, except for 48 hours when it's cold and wet. And it's been cold and wet.
Yes, yeah. Yes.
In Utah. So I was like, oh, Sarah, we're doing this in my house. I'm so sorry. One day we'll really use the barn. I feel like this is the thing I keep talking about on these lives. Like, one day we're going to use the barn, guys. Yeah. One day.
That day's coming. It'll be so exciting.
It'll be really, really great. Okay. Is it you?
Me. Yes. Okay. So how do creativity and business belong together? And why do most programs fail to combine them effectively?
I think this is really, really hard. And so I think you see a lot out there in terms of like just straight business programs, right? I think they're really good. You see a lot out there, just design programs, right? I think the biggest thing is experience. I think the people who lead those don't have experience in both. Like, they don't run businesses. I've run a lot of different businesses. and they're not, you know, a designer and artist, and I'm a designer. And so when you merge those two things together, it really changes your perspective. There are really good things you hear out there about business, like start a website and get on social media and do all this other. You will see that, like, for my designers, I teach them, like, that's useless in the first year. Pretty useless. But if you have a regular business, for example, if you have a business like a university, you do need to do that. You have to have a website, you have to have a mission statement, you have to have all these things. And so the advice isn't wrong. It's just wrong for designers. And I suspect there are other fields like that. I'm not in those other fields, so I don't know, like, if I were a film artist or if I was a filmer or producer, maybe the rules would be different for someone like me. But that's what I'm talking about. I think the more specific you get into the different areas of study, the more you kind of start to realize, like, well, film people should do this, and artists should do this. And if you own your own subscription box, you should do this. And really, at the end of the day, the thing I figured out is that business is granular and it's specific. So specific. So this, like, be careful about the business advice you get out there that's really general, because I find that business tends to be very, very specific to whatever area you're in.
Yeah, it's true. And I think because you have had experience in, not only have you had school experience, like education, you've also, like, started businesses, and you've worked for someone as a creative director, and
their business totally runs totally different.
Yes, all of them have been a little bit different. So you have kind of learned what it's like to be in several different types of creative business.
Yeah, the more businesses you own, the more you realize there are lots of things about business that's similar, and there are lots of things that just are not. So as a designer, as someone who just designs as a contract worker, that is really different than when I was the creative director at Cartabella, which is really different from when I still am the CEO of Mini Lou, but Mini Lou is now it's a DBA, but it was a wholesaler. So we were an inventory-based business. So then we're working with sales reps, and it's the way you get sales is totally different than the way I did as a designer. Then take it to education. Our design suite programs are education-based. The university is education and IP-based. And so that feels so different than being a designer or being a wholesaler or being a creative director. And they're just all really different, you guys. So as you get into business, just I would say be careful, get really smart about the way you think about business and the way that you run it. Because every time I start a new business or I work for a new business, I'm like, oh, I see the way you do it. There are metrics that are the same. They're still the similar metrics we're looking at, right? We're looking for ROI. If you have Facebook ads, you're looking at conversion rates. There are certain things that you look at all the time. But the logistics, the way you market, the way you do things, totally different. Every single business. Yeah. So, Thunder got excited about something. Sorry, guys. Thunder, what are you excited about? Okay. Sarah, I'm super curious about how your family has influenced your approach on planning and hospitality.
Well, I grew up with 5 sisters. So there was...
Did you have any brothers? I can't
No
remember.
brothers. Yeah.
Okay.
So there was 6 girls.
Oh, so what you're saying is you fell short. You only had 3 kids.
I
You were
know.
supposed to have 5.
Yes.
5
Yeah.
girls.
3 girls was enough for me.
3 is probably. I mean, I have 3 kids, but that is all I could handle. So
yes. So I have 5 sisters, and I'm probably the most, I mean, my sisters would all say I'm the one that got all the creativity. So I was always drumming up ideas. Like I said, I was always like throwing parties, planning parties, and I loved holidays. Even when I was little, like I was the one who was making a Santa Claus out of like my mom's material, and I was sewing different things. And so I think growing up, and we were free to be creative. My mom always had plenty of arts and crafts, and we did tons of like coloring and painting. And so I think growing up with sisters, I mean, I'm not saying that brothers can't do that, but I think as my sisters, we really enjoyed, we did cake decorating and cookies and baking and all the creative things. I definitely grew up doing all those with my sisters. And then, of course, when I had my daughters, I have just always loved the holidays and creating experiences for them.
And she really does. Like, I think your Instagram is private, but like whenever I get on there, I'm just like, who has time for this? Sarah. Sarah's the only one who has time for this.
When it's something that you love, I'm always on the lookout. Like I would buy something for Christmas today. Like if I was out and about and I saw something I thought would work for Christmas decor, I'd buy it. I'm always buying different things for, different tableware or different mats or balloons or wherever I'm at. I'm always on the lookout. And I think that's how you do it, is you kind of do it in advance so that you're
just ready to go.
It's like, okay, what have I got? Like I go through my boxes, what are my bins, and this works. Yeah.
So cool.
As a crafter and creator, you guys all have these bins of different cardstock and balloons and paper and crepe, all the
too much
things.
of it.
Yes.
The problem is I don't like to look for it. So then I just go to the store and buy new.
Yeah.
Does that happen to you?
Yes. Oh, for sure.
I'll be like, and then about 3 months later, I'll find all the Easter stuff and I'll be like, oh shit. Yeah. Like I go downstairs. I just did this. I was in a store and I bought 3 new Easter baskets, even though I have 6 downstairs, but I bought 3 new ones because I couldn't find all the ones that matched together.
Yes. Yeah.
It was like so bad, but I was just like, I can't find, like, where are the 3 that match together for this Easter? And then I just kind of was like, I'm just going to buy new ones. I'm just going to buy new ones. So I bought new ones after Easter for next year. And I kept some of the old ones, but then I threw away some of them because I'm like, just Carina, it's okay. You can let go of some of these. I'm actually not a hoarder, but I do lose things very easily because there are so many bins.
Yeah. So many things.
And I want to organize them. Like I actually love organizing them, like getting in and like sorting all the paper and stuff. It's just finding the time to do it. You know this.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to stay somewhat organized. I mean, sometimes it's impossible, but yeah, probably once a year, I'll just kind of get into like my husband's out of town and I just go in and start organizing, throwing away, organizing, different crafting things, putting them in bins or in Tupperware or wherever. Yeah, it helps when it is organized.
It does help. I'm actually excited to move into this barn because I think every time I move, so I'm moving from my office and my office is still a mess from Design Business Conference, but I just kind of left it because I'm like, I'm moving out of this office and I'm moving into the barn. And when I move into the barn, everything is already, I have a big shed full of stuff as well. And I kind of am like, okay, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to choose the stuff that's going to stay. And the problem is you really, especially in my world, I don't know if you have this issue, especially design work that has been made with the 3D stuff. I like to hold on to a certain amount of it because I never know when I'm going to use it again. And I'm so grateful that I did.
Yes.
But then I'm also really grumpy because then if I kept everything, it would be bins and bins and bins and bins of stuff because I have thousands and thousands of designs.
Yeah. And a lot of it doesn't, the 3D projects are hard to lay flat. So,
well, and even if you guys have been watching the Make With Me series, like the coaches are making with me last week, Brenna was making something with me. And we're going to have lots of fun guests on. Even that alone, that stuff is sitting on my desk right now. And I'm just like, wow, like this is about to really add up.
Yeah.
And Master the Machine. I have like all these projects from Master the Machine.
Yeah.
So all the stuff out right now is actually stuff that's been done in the last month or so, not even old stuff. So I gotta make some decisions, guys.
It's the life of a designer, crafter, maker.
That's true.
Yes.
It's so true. But I love it because I do always have stuff to go, like to do. Like I'm like, oh, I'm throwing a party. Well, let me go dig in my bin to see what I've got. Oh, I have a birthday coming up. Grab a card from the bin, kids.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a room mom. I was a room mom quite a bit for my girls. It was I always had some craft or something. Oh yeah, I've got stuff. I can bring stuff or I can decorate for the ward party or I've got stuff.
Totally. I love it. So good. Is it my turn?
I think it's me.
Okay.
I think it's my turn. Okay. So what do you believe is the most important skill a modern designer must have and how do you teach it?
I think the number one skill that designers need right now is adaptability, which I don't know if everybody would say, but I'm going to tell you this, like being adaptable in this current age, especially with AI, all the production stuff going on, the way that even Adobe has changed. Like, I feel like there's some months where I've taped a full class and I have to go in and retape sections because they've added something. So frustrating, by the way. Adobe, please stop that for just a little while. Just for 1 second. Don't move anything on me. So I think that right now, adaptability is key. If you are not adaptable, design is not for you. Honestly, this world might not be for you. Are you feeling it?
Yes.
I feel like everything is changing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, AI is changing so many things. I mean, for sure in the design, design business, but kind of in the world.
In the
It is
world.
it's
And
crazy.
just little things. It's just interesting. I was looking at accounting features the other day and I was just like, oh, you can literally replace your accountant. Like what? There's some crazy stuff out there, you guys. Sometimes people ask me like, are you worried about design going away? I was like, no, because, or, some people are asking about attorneys, like, will attorneys go away? Right. I'm just like, no, I think what will happen is you still have to have those high level, you still need eyes on something. They're probably going to charge a higher fee. Right. And they're probably going to come in and give you all the strategies and make sure that you're good to go. I just think the world is going to change in ways people don't understand. I think we all think it's this like 1950s robots hanging around. Like I think that's a very minimal, a very closed-minded view about the way our lives will change. I was talking to two of my girlfriends about how much time I spend on ChatGPT asking it questions. I spend like honestly an hour every night working through big problems, really big problems, giving them specifics. I fed it all of my company's sheets, like all the conversion rates for everything. Like, I mean, I will feed it all kinds of information and be like, okay, based on this, what do you think? Or what are these projected things? And it's still not the end all because it's not smart enough. If you don't give it enough information, it's not smart enough to know what needs to be done. And I always catch it. I'll be like, hey, so based on this is really actually what I see. Is that true? And they'll be like, oh, yes. I almost feel like ChatGPT is like, well, actually, yes, you are correct in that way. And then it like gives you some other thing. So I do think you have to be smart. You have to still figure out how to use it and be smart with it. I don't think it's the end all, but it is so nice to go to and figure out some things.
Yeah. Well, I think about students, how much education itself will change with AI, because I think in the beginning, teachers were like, don't use AI, but it's not, they're encouraging kids. They're encouraging them to come up with your own ideas, but then put it in ChatGPT to clean it up.
Yeah. Which you should be doing.
Yes.
You should absolutely do. I was at a university meeting and I was surprised at the number of professionals who are still resisting AI.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a lot, especially
why?
Just tenured
adaptability.
I'm just like, if you are teaching in a way that makes sense, like, so for example, let me just give you this, everyone's worried about, oh, well, the paper is being written by AI. I'm just like, well, then the paper never should have been written to begin with. The paper should have been something that actually made sense to the student. So in our university, every paper is essay format. So that means I believe this, and this will affect my life in this way.
Your own ideas.
Yeah. So it's your own idea. So if AI helped you write it, it's still your own ideas. They're helping you clean up the grammar, make the sentences readable, which is sure nice for the professor, right? But like, it should be their own ideas. I cannot recommend enough that if you are having them just spit out history things, then what's the point, right? They can look that up on Google if they need that information. I'm not saying that kids shouldn't learn like, some good general information, but I'm saying like, we got to think smarter about the way we test our kids, our students, people who are really in the education realm. And we've had to do that. You'll notice at our university, at least once, sometimes twice a semester, you have to do a video file with you doing the whole thing on video. So that's how I know you know it, because you are, even if you're reading it, you have to have gotten something from it because you just had to present it to me, right? And, maybe we'll have to be worried about that with deep fakes or whatever, but like, we're not worried about it now. Students are getting on and they actually will be telling me how they're going to use, how they're going to build their business, what things in design they have to worry about, what production things. And they're saying those things to me. And a lot of them they're not reading. They're like telling me about it. And I'm just like, that's what we should be teaching, because the whole point is the education piece. Yeah. You walk away and you actually can talk about it, know how to use it, know how it affects you. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Okay. What does connection mean to you personally, and how do you bring that to the events you create?
I mean, connection is so important to me, like relationships and people.
It is so fun. I love talking to Sarah because here's the thing. Most of us designers who are watching, we're introverts. And so not that connection is not important. I don't even know. Would you call yourself an extrovert or an introvert?
I'm both. I'm
You're
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
I tend to be a little more introverted. You know, I like to design or work on my stuff and just like kind of like close the door and just like work on my things because I really enjoy it. I enjoy being with people, but not as much as I enjoy being alone. So like for me, it's like it's kind of like a weighted thing. I find it fascinating because especially on our team, I think you and Shara, my guess is Shara, if you're watching this, are like kind of the most extroverted and love connection. You know, if I'm ever like, we should go on vacation together, Shara's like, I'm there.
Yeah.
Like, let's go on vacation. You know, let's go to the lake house. Let's whatever. Just so curious. Like, have you always been that way?
I think connection has always been. I've always made friends easy. I'm really grateful for that. But I've always had good friends. I've always had good people that have surrounded me, and I've always been able to make friends. I tend to have like small groups. Like I'm not like, I don't need like 1 million friends. I'm more of a, you know, keep my friends close. I'm still like my 3 best friends from high school that were my bridesmaids. We go to lunch once a month.
You go to lunch with more people than any other than my husband. Josh goes to lunch with a lot of people, but I feel like you go to lunch.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to you, you're like, oh yeah, I went to lunch with her last week.
Yeah. It's a good way. It's connection. It's, I think we're all so busy in our lives. Like I think everyone knows you're working and you have family and you have other things you're doing, that it's a great way to keep that connection with people. So in my life, connection is really like, I put it high up there. Cause I'm usually the one reaching out saying, let's go to lunch. I'm always the planner. I'm always the planner for my sisters, for my high school friends, and it's because it comes very natural. Like planning things comes very natural to me.
I think everybody needs one person like that in their life.
Yes.
Cause I have someone like that. One of my college girlfriends, there's like 12 of us.
Yes.
It's like, she was the one who would every year send out the newsletter and be like, everyone give me all your stuff. And we like, that's how we stayed connected all these years, especially before like Facebook and Marco Polo and all those things.
Yeah.
I think there are certain people who are really good at connections.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of easy and natural. So I'm happy to kind of take the lead and just be like, okay.
Zero resentment.
No, I don't. For the most part, I really enjoy it. Like, okay, I'll plan it. And when I was 20, I was actually a travel agent. That was my 20-year-old job. I was a travel agent for 10 years. So travel has always come very easy. I've always loved planning trips. So it's like, let's decide where we're going, and then I'll put together an itinerary and figure out where we're going to do what we're going to, I love all those things, like planning all the details of the trip.
Super fun. I love that. So good. Oh, wait. Do you want to answer me a question, or should I ask you?
Yeah.
How many more do I have? Maybe a lot more. Let's not do them all. Let's just do a couple more.
Okay.
You can choose.
Let's see.
Because I don't even know what time it is, you guys.
I know.
We're like going. It's like 45 minutes.
I know.
In. Hi, guys.
We're just having too much
We're
fun.
just chatting. I love like there's a whole bunch of you here and no one has said anything. You guys can ask us questions too if you want. We are a little far away from that. Maybe we'll pull it in just a little bit closer for this next little bit. You guys can have like a little bit tighter view of us while we're chatting here. If you want to know this, can you guys see this behind me? That is the cat's bowls because they're such princesses. We have to put them on the table for them. Princesses.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to move this a little bit so that Sarah.
Yeah, I guess we should. Do you guys have any questions for us? I mean, we can keep asking each other, but if you have a question, throw it in the chat. We're happy to. We're happy to answer it.
To chat with you guys more.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Why do you believe your programs work when others don't? This is a good one.
Oh, okay. I think there are a couple of things. I think that, I really think the reason that a lot of programs don't work is just literally because they've lost their end goal. And there's so many fingers in the pie that there's like not one strong vision at the top of a department, making sure that everything's going to go. I see this for universities and I see this for Design Suite. So I think the nice thing about owning my own business for Design Suite is that since I have the vision for where it needs to go, I mean, you see this in our meetings, I'll be just like, just do that. Just like, that's the way it's supposed to be. And everyone's like, okay, yes, we'll just do it. And then everybody does it. And it's like really, really great. I think for the university, I think because I built all the curriculum, so I knew like this is where the curriculum is going to head us to. Like, this is the result we're looking for. It made it very easy because it was like one vision at the top, and now we've built it out. And then as we move forward, this is, I mean, part of the reason I did this is because a university lives longer than me, which I was like, okay, if this university lives longer than me, because we've done all this stuff to make sure that it lives longer than me, if we set it up correctly now, then it doesn't matter who comes in. I mean, it does matter. We want good faculty, right? But if good faculty come in, they're going to see the curriculum. They're going to understand what they need to teach, and it's going to make sense. They will understand what piece they are in the entire pie. And I think that's really important. People don't know where they are in the pie. And especially, we just had our first like really big faculty meeting yesterday where like, it was like all the professors came, the facilitators and the graders came. And like, I was like, guys, like, this is it. This is really going to work. Exciting. Like, this is so exciting. Like, I can kind of see where we're headed. And that, oh my gosh, it just feels really exciting. I think in Design Suite, I'm the main teacher. We have coaches that are helping. And eventually, just so you guys know, in Design Suite, it will only be, your coaches will only be qualified to be a coach if they have a master's degree. So it's like, I mean, it's like you're getting that same kind of high level energy from even our design program that you would at the university. But the university, I just think it's interesting to build a program where it's like everybody understands what piece of the pie they are working on to make sure a student gets that education that makes it so important. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I feel really lucky.
Yeah.
I feel very, very lucky. Yeah. Okay, I have one more question for you, and then maybe you can choose one more for me.
Okay.
And then I have questions for both of us that we can look at. Okay. And if you guys have questions, you guys can put it in the chat. What's your favorite part about working on Design Suite? Or on that Design Suite team, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of it is the team. I think it's you and the team itself.
The team is fun.
You've put together really awesome people. Like,
we're
really, really cool
We're
people.
like in a really good place right now too. We're like literally every single person who shows up to meeting, I'm like, oh, I love you and I love you and I love you. And I'm so grateful you're here. And sometimes we have to do hard work, but man, I like everybody there.
Yeah, everybody does their part and everybody helps each other. Yeah. And it's really cool to be a part of a team
hard.
Like that. Yeah, they do.
Really hard.
Really hard.
Not only do they work really hard, but talk about a group of, we're all women with the exception of Jeffrey. We've talked about Jeffrey before. Poor Jeffrey. All women. And, you know, Julie showed up yesterday and she's totally sick. Like, you know, we were in the university meeting. I was like, Julie, like, are you still really sick? Like, I thought maybe it was just her voice in the previous meeting. And she's like, yeah, I'm just like, what the heck are you doing here? Why are you at this meeting? Right. But like, that's what I'm talking about. The level of commitment from the coaches, from you, from our Filipino team, who we really adore. It is insane the level of commitment everybody has, because I think you guys all see the vision that we're trying to build. I think it's helpful. Maybe it's not helpful. You can tell me. I recognize that I'm wrong a lot. I tend to be wrong often, or I just like get really like, let's do this and this. I mean, we're in a million projects right now, right? So it's a little bit crazy. I think it's helpful to have leadership who's like, sometimes I screw up. I actually do think that's a little bit helpful. I think it's good to have leaders who are like, this is where we're headed. But I also think we have to be really careful. And I see this a lot, I don't want to say in what kind of organizations, but, you know, opposite sex organizations, where sometimes it's very like power dominant at the top. Like they're always right, no matter what. And man, I do like to be right, but man, I am often wrong about things as well. So
I would say not that often.
She's being kind. She's being really kind. Our whole team right now we're doing a book together, which is fun. And we do try to get together once a year, but I think we might get together twice this year because of the barn, which is nice. Yeah. And I do think that helps when you're a small team. You have a little more flexibility for that kind of thing.
It's fun being together. I would say the other part of Design Suite that I love, especially when I did the Design Suite Maker Conference, was meeting, or not meet, like virtually meeting, a lot of getting to know like the members of Design Suite. That's really cool to see the women that are joining. They're awesome. I'm just so impressed by you know, you could tell for some it was really hard, like making a presentation and, you know, going through the whole process of being a presenter, but they were just fantastic.
Yeah.
So I love the members.
A lot of tech involved with that.
Yeah.
And I forget sometimes that you don't get to see the members.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've met some of them now because we've done in-person events, but a lot of them, it's just, you just meet them virtually, but it's awesome to see their progress and to see what they're presenting and being brave enough to be a presenter. Cause it's a lot. It's putting yourself out there. So it's, super impressive.
Yeah, it's true. I love that about Design Suite too.
Yeah.
I think it's this feeling of, the greater good a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we're doing good work. We're doing our very best. But like when you see results from your members, you're like, this is why we do this. Yes. Like that was magic. It's so amazing. When we had, you had booked Brenna to be on the YouTube Live last week. And she was talking about some of her successes. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I forget. Like you like really killed it. Like you really rocked it in our program. And that just feels amazing.
Totally. Well, and I watched too, and I didn't know that she was so hesitant to join at first. Like I learned that.
She went through every level.
Yeah.
She like bought like
I did not know that about her, but I thought that was so amazing.
Next level.
That she was just like, I can't do this. It's too much. But I think deep down, luckily she just, there was just something inside of her that she said, go for it. Go for it. You can do this.
And I mean, she made her money back
super
super fast.
Yeah.
Bought a bunch more printers and lasers.
Yes.
I was like, what the heck? And now she's in the master's degree program.
Yeah. Really cool.
So incredibly cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I have some questions for both of us.
Okay.
Do you want me to hop into these?
Yeah.
Okay. So, why do you think building connections is more important than ever before? I mean, I feel this way. Are you feeling that way?
Absolutely. Yes. Because I think we live in a world where we could be in our homes and never leave. We could have groceries delivered, food delivered. You really don't have to leave, but you also recognize that connection is so important. Those people that are living, you know, by themselves or alone, like this, I mean, we are born for connection. And after, I think, COVID and being stuck in our homes, we saw that more than ever, like how much we really need each other and that we need friends and we need support and we need love and we need, you know, like touch, we need hugs. And
I had just read some startling statistic, like in you guys, I'm going to misquote this. Like in the 1800s, it was like 1 out of 7 people, I can't remember. It was like some crazy number. It was like flipped around, but hardly anyone lived by themselves. If you even were a spinster, you lived with your family or you had a girlfriend roommate and you would live with her. Like people did not live alone. And it's startling now, the number of people who live alone, who choose to live alone because we can, right? Get your own job and then you live alone. And so I thought that was really interesting. The second thing is I had listened to some research study where they had done it. There's this one little town in Italy where the people there live longer than anywhere else. Have you heard of this?
No.
And they were trying to figure out why. And they eat lard. They are not healthier than everybody else. But they live in communities. So no one lives alone. Everybody lives in groups, like really close connections, like very social. It's a small town. Everybody is very close. What they found is people who even left that town would die at the same rate as everybody else in the world. But the people who stayed in the town could live longer. What? Isn't that crazy? Yeah. And the only thing they could figure out that was different because the food wasn't different. They were like, the air isn't different. The water's not different. Like it's just like that they are very, like they live in groups, like families are extended and they live together. Like nobody lives alone. Like you are high interactions. It's very fascinating, huh?
Well, isn't it in Japan where they're kind of expected to take care of their parents?
Yes.
Isn't it like
that's
kind of
true.
Japanese?
A lot of Asian cultures are that way. My parents were that way. My grandparents were that way. So interestingly enough, like the middle-aged people go off and work and the grandchildren are raised by the grandparents.
Because so they've moved in
with the parents. Like, so there's this whole like dynamic and interesting cultural thing. My mom always talked about how her mom, because she was right in the middle, would take care of course their kids, but also took care of other people's kids. So their other kids would live with them while the parents went and worked. And that was her job, was for those kids to live with them. That was really, really interesting. My great grandparents, her grandparents lived very near or lived in that same little housing community. So they were with her parents or grandparents all the time. So yeah, just different, living a little differently. So it is kind of interesting. We are so taught to be independent in Western culture.
Yes.
And it is a little different in other cultures, right? Partially because they need to be, partially because I think just the way our society is built, right? We kind of push our kids out the door.
Yeah.
I'm pushing one out the door as we speak. So anyway, kind of interesting. Okay. I don't know if I have an answer for this one. What's your favorite moment during an event? The beginning buzz, the mid-event momentum, or ending reflections? Oh, that's kind of tough. I mean, I love the buzz of a beginning event. Like, it's so fun because we're like,
the kickoff
it's amazing.
The kickoff there is awesome energy.
I don't know if there's anything better than the ending, though.
I know. Yeah.
Like,
it just feels good. Like when we have our meeting, we usually have a meeting after an event to kind of talk about it. And everybody talks about like, did you hear this? Or did you see what this person posted or this class? And I think that probably is my favorite part because I love to hear everybody's take on, because it feels really good. Like we did something good.
Yeah.
You know,
you were part of something bigger. I think I like the ending too. We had a lovely dinner at the end of our design business event. We went to one of my favorite restaurants and I got my favorite thing there. And then you introduced me to butter cake there, which what the heck? Like soul agave, you guys. It was delicious and so evil. And it was just nice. It was nice sitting there being like, job well done. You're so exhausted. Every person on your team is so exhausted. We're so tired. And just being like, okay, everything happened that needed to happen. And
you hear the takeaways, you hear the conversations that were being had, you hear, you know, what one person learned, or I saw these two together. It's just, I just love all the positive, and it's all positive. It's all this
good
positive
energy.
Yes.
Yeah. And it kind of like propels us into like, okay, now we got to go back home and do all the stuff.
Yes.
And we do. We somehow, all the stuff, it just happens and it's magical and it's so good.
Yeah.
So good. All right, you guys, thanks so much for being here with us. We loved having you here. This was your Dishing the Tea. No one asked us any crazy questions, so we just told you about what's going on. Things are busy. We're always busy.
Yeah. Yep.
But in such a good way. So we feel really, really lucky. I would say if you're very interested in finding out about Design Suite, we love people to come to to learn about Design Suite. Come check us out in the Design Bootcamp. That is at designsuitecourses.com/design bootcamp. We'd love to have you come to one of those. They're usually about $27 to make it cheap. And the reason we put a price tag on it is because, you know, I say things that I wouldn't normally say free, right? Like I'll tell you money, I'll tell you all the stuff that's going on. And I think it's such a good place to kind of like figure out your why if you want to become a designer, because I do go through quite a few frameworks. And then if you have ever been interested in a degree, and it's an interesting world we live in because, you know, sometimes people will say like, I don't think you need a degree, which you don't. But ironically, we still hire with degrees. We still respect people who are working on degrees. There's still a certain amount of notoriety that, you know, that comes from a degree. And if you're like, you know what, I want the degree. I think the degree would be great for me. We have heard from some of our members that husbands take them a little more seriously when they come do the degree versus when they did Design Suite. Like we're like, that's literally the same thing. But the master's degree is more meaningful. And we get it because it's under a certain kind of licensure. You know, we've had to do certain things in order to do the master's degree. Come check us out at the University of Arts and Design. We are doing things really differently. We are one to watch, is what I'm going to say, because we're not afraid of what is really possible out there for the university system. So we're one to watch. You're going to want to kind of see what we're doing. We just came out with a magazine. It's so beautiful. I have not received it yet, but like our members, one of the coaches got it. And I was just like,
it
how
is
did you guys
awesome.
get it so fast? It's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
It is.
128 pages. Like, it's not a small magazine. If you buy the printed version, which is on Amazon, you can literally tear out. I purposely did it in matte, not glossy, because you can tear out the pages and actually use it if you want to make cards with it or anything else. It's 8.5 by 11. It's kind of fun. It's super fun.
Yeah.
We love it so much.
Great.
So it's really good. Anything you want to end with, Sarah?
I just want to say it's an awesome community. They're really incredible people that are in Carina's program. She has just attracted really amazing people. So come be a part of that. Come join the community. It's really, really, really awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun. All right, guys. I hope you guys all have a marvelous day, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Okay, see ya.